Any of our new generation movie stars can have the aura and magic of Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Amir Khan, Mr. Bachchan, Akshay Kumar, Ajay Devgan, like the kind Hrithik Roshan, these kind of stars. I think they were the last of the Mohicans. Showing the middle finger to all the people with logic, intellectuals, critics, they don't care. Somewhere, I feel we lost our conviction in Hindi cinema. And my thing is, Pratham, I never lie to the filmmaker.
So at Masters Union Business School, one of the most requested courses we have is on the business of Indian cinema. We hear movies making 100 crores, 200 crores, 500 crores all the time. These numbers are thrown around, but very little is known about how the money is made, how much is made, and actually who makes it. So to discuss all of this, I have with me the one and only Karan Johar.
Hi,
Karan?
Pratham. I'm very happy to be on your show. And had you told me that you're going to sound so official and so business-centric, I would have wanted to suit myself. Right now, I look like I came for my jog straight to you, but it's fine. It's the way
That's part of your brand.
it is.
That's part of your brand.
But I'm just happy to meet you and happy to chat about everything that you have
Awesome.
on the cards.
Awesome. So Karan, you're one of the finest filmmakers, but today I'm going to request you to not wear your filmmaker hat, but wear your businessman hat.
Sure.
Right? And so I have questions from you about the business of Bollywood, business of Indian cinema. I want to start off with your journey as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So you inherited Dharma Studios from your father as a small business, small, medium-sized business. And today you have turned it into essentially a large conglomerate, right? Can you take us back to your initial days?
There's some fact, there's some humor, and there's some drama attached to that question, really.
Okay.
So quintessentially, I'm not at heart a business person. Numbers evade me. I'm not like strong with like financial calculations and manipulations. Like those are things that Apurva, my CEO, he's like a finance head. So he is my childhood best friend, then went to college with me. And then when my dad passed away in 2004, I just found myself very alone. I felt because I had no family, no one to kind of help me, because there was a strange thing that had happened, and that kind of envelops and encompasses what I was all about. The fourth day after my father passed away, we have a prayer meeting, and I came back to the office sitting all alone thinking, how am I going to take this company? I don't even know where my money is. I don't know, because my dad did everything for mom and me. I was totally spoiled. I mean, like, I literally one day came back from an IFA award, and my father wanted me to sign checks, and I wrote lots of love on the checks because I was so used to signing those autographs. So I was that disconnected from finance. And at the fourth day, I was sitting in my office, and one man walked in and said, I'm your chartered accountant, and he said, a very dear friend of the family wants to meet you. He came with a letter that my dad had left behind for me, which was a very business letter. It wasn't an emotional one, because my dad had cancer. He knew he was, he had a short life beyond after he was diagnosed with cancer. And that letter actually said, where the funds were, in terms of your mutual fund, your investments. He even said, these are people you trust, these are people you don't trust. This is how you should take the business forward. And it became kind of my Bible. At that point of time, and this family friend brought it, and he said, Karan, this is only because he knows you are clueless. And he was so worried and scared. And while he was alive, you wouldn't have never wanted this conversation to happen, because it was too emotional at that time. So I took that Bible, like in terms of those 5-6 pages of detailed things about bank accounts and where money is, where property investments, everything. Like it was like literally called up Apurva, who then agreed to leave his entire life in London and move bag and baggage overnight. And that became like his reference point as well, to kind of start. That's how we started really Dharma Productions in its glory that it lies in today, and I hope it continues. But that began our journey. So that's how I started in 2004. And I remember we were making a film called Kaal, and I was like, maybe we should make it, And I remember Shah Rukh called me and said, actually, it's a smaller film, you should make it. Learn your mistakes, make your mistakes, learn from your mistakes, make your mistakes. So we produced Kaal, clueless about like how to produce, how to sell. And then one after the other, Pratham, it just became like, that's how Dharma Productions. And from 2008, in that respect, the studio that we built, the studio model that we built is fairly nascent.
Right.
We actually, it's 14 years old.
Yeah, the
From
concept
2008, 2008 is when we produced Wake Up Sid, Dostana, I Hate Love Stories, Kurban. All those films started around that time, 2008, 2009. And then, of course, things just continued. So it started from two people who were very passionate, best friends from school and college, almost like a startup.
Yeah.
Like it's almost felt
Exactly.
like it was like a Dharma felt at that time like we
Starting
were
from scratch
two in a
again.
startup and learning on the job, making our mistakes. Only thing we had was deep commitment to the company and a lot of passion to take it forward.
Very interesting. So in these almost 18, 20 years since, how has the company evolved? Is it now a corporate, or
Yeah.
do you think it's still a family business at the heart of it?
So it's a bit of both,
Hmm.
and much more the family, because I function like that. We have a very open door policy. If you come to my office and you want to, and you're working with me, and there's something you need to speak to me about, you can just walk in if it's an urgent situation. There's no email I need. There's no email exchange. Apurva Mehta, the CEO of Dharma, is the only one running it like a corporate. So while all of us are creative, walking around in our track pants and like literally creative filmmakers, he has actually aligned the company to what it is. He's made it corporate. He observes casual Fridays.
Okay.
And like so he's the only one. Suddenly I see Apurva in jeans and I'm like, oh, it's Friday. Like,
Now there's an
everybody-
HR department.
Yeah,
and
everybody. He has all the HR department. We have the posh department, and we have the legal department. All the financial. He has it all down to the T. He is the reason why we are structured, we are organized, we are disciplined, and we are corporate.
So what is your relationship like with him? Do you guys disagree? Do you guys fight?
Oh my God, it's like I feel scared of him because I am. See, the thing is, when you're a filmmaker, there's a lot of abandon in your decisions. There's a lot of instinct which I can't explain to a business person.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a business mind and like I say, I want to invest money in this first time filmmaker, and he's going to like, but has he worked with someone before? And I'm like, no. What is his credentials? None. What did you like about him? I can't explain it. I have an instinct. Ayan Mukherjee walked in, had no experience. Everybody said, but he seemed. Today he made Brahmastra. But at that point of time, everybody was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you making a film with this person? Like, he's done nothing. He's just been an assistant on 2 films. And in those films, it didn't seem like he had anything. But I said, no, he has a ticking brain. He's a genius. According to me, he'll be a... So it's like, I can't explain to Apurva some of these things. So he and I are always, but I always get scared of my meetings with him because he pulls me up about my personal expenditures. He pulls me up about my indulgences with filmmakers. Being a filmmaker myself and a director, I'm always indulging the directors when they come and say, we're over budget by 5 crores. We're OB by 10. And I'm like, but why? And then they're very like, giving me their dukh bhari kahani about how tough it is. And I'm totally buying it. Till Apurva walks in and saying, just, calm down. Like, this is money. These are our investments. You have to see your verticals. These are your recoveries. This is your budget. This is your P&A cost. Now, at the end of the day, that's how so simple thing. And while we're at this, we'll tell you, if you want to be safe on a film, then your cost, your recovery from digital rights, satellite rights, music rights, and perceived theatrical, like average theatrical, what it can be in the worst average case scenario, should kind of equal your cost of production plus publicity. Suppose my film is, and I'll explain to everybody watching this, suppose now my cost of my production is 80 crores, so rather 75, and
including the actor fees?
Including, that's ATL, that's above the line. And then we have 15 for P&A, which is, so it's 90. Now, if I'm getting 40 from digital, and I'm getting 20 from satellite, and I'm getting 15 from music, then I'm like already at 75. My cost is 90. So I'm presuming my film will do about 40 crores. If I do 40, then for 55% of that comes home.
Understood.
Theatrically. Okay, if I do 40 theater, so then I'm like, okay, I can make this movie. But this is your intelligent mind, doing this calculation. But if you have to take a chance, you have to take a chance. Then you have to say like, okay, now my film needs to, my break-even point of my film is 80 crores NBOC, net box office. 70, then that's the time you're taking a risk, because in this climate, you don't know what will work and what won't. But this simple mathematic I always do for a filmmaker. I'm like, satellite, digital, music, average theatrical.
So it's like every movie is essentially like a startup you're investing in.
Yes.
Right? So you have to do the cash flow analysis.
Always. You have to do it. And then the cash flow analysis is something that Apurva looks at, because there's a lot of rotation money. Money comes from one place, goes into the other. So at the end of the year, you have to suss how you did, what your report card looks like.
Got it. So let's take a step back. Over these 20 years, you've taken a lot of risks. You've launched new faces, you've launched new genres. A lot of your bets have worked out, and I'm sure a lot of your bets probably did not work out as well.
Sure.
Right? Can you share some of the lows that people might not have heard about?
So sometimes there are movies that do really well in terms of perception, but they haven't done well economically for you. But I'll tell you what it happened. So when I was making Student of the Year, The film did really well. It did
Right.
70 plus crores. For newcomers, it was the #1 newcomer film, which had
Wow.
done 70 crores
70 crores in
and,
revenue.
and had done really well overseas, and it had done. But I had spent like crazy on that film.
Hmm.
So we were down on that film by 15 to 20 crores
Hmm.
because I had spent so much on the film.
Sure.
So but then I looked at Apurva and I said, we're going to make this up
Hmm.
because these three are going to become stars. And he was
Hmm.
like, you're talking nonsense. How do you know this?
Hmm.
So I was like, because we had signed them on a contract, 3-film contract, which very subsidized.
Okay.
So I said, it'll come around.
an
So then we immediately made Hasi To Pasi with Sid. We made 2 states, Badrinath Ki Dulhania, Humpty with Alia. We made Badri and Humpty with Varun. And they were at subsidized numbers because that was as our contract. So eventually that shortfall actually got covered because of the future slate.
The
of
3-movie package did really well.
But I mean, like, I remember the downs were like when Kurban failed. I remember it was one of the earlier films that I had produced, and I really liked it. And it was, I felt like I felt even more upset because I felt like my instinct failed. I was all for Kurban. So when it failed and flopped, I was like,
You
shit, like,
questioned
you
your
know, like,
instinct.
yeah. And so that got me really upset. And the second time it happened was when Kalank released, and a lot of love and passion and money had gone into it. And I feel Abhishek Varman is one of our finest minds. It didn't do well and it was rejected from day one. And somehow that I could understand why, but because so much love, money, attention, time, energy, passion had gone into it, it just kind of breaks your heart. But the other films that have failed at Dharma, I kind of always knew. Like I knew that we made one film, or with the films that have failed, I saw it coming because when I used to see and my thing is, Pratham, I never lie to the filmmaker. I lie to everyone outside. I walk out of that edit room and tell everyone it's great because I need to boost the morale of my company.
So, I was wondering which movies or actors have been some of your best investments. Are there certain genres today that are performing better than the others? When you're deciding which movie to finance to create, do you look at the actor? Do you look at the script? Do you look at, or is it like a bunch
So it's
of
a combination of two things. One thing is, it's very clear the digital revolution has divided genres. So certain genres absolutely should not be theatrical. So slice of life, human dramas, romantic love stories, like just very rom-commy love stories, not dramatic love stories. Like Kabir Singh's a dramatic love story, so that still can be theatrical. But rom-com would be like Ek Mein Aur Ek Tu, which we made, or like we made, like, Salam Namaste, rom-com, like that. That kind of rom-com is now operating only digitally. Then the intense crime murder mystery, like the ones that are small in scale. Having said that, Drishyam has proven that wrong also, but that's a franchise. But there are certain genres that will just not work unless you have the big theatrical experience. So the films that will work will be horror comedies, very popular genre. But just horror may not, just comedy may not. Horror comedy is a big genre. Big event, spectacle, Dhoom, Pathan, like war, big spectacle. Then of course, the Indian big spectacle, Bahubali, RRR, the KGF. These are the Pushpa, which is rooted in India and yet a spectacle film. Brahmastra, rooted in India, a big spectacle. So these are the theatrical. Then there are always the outliers. Like the ones that will not conform to my theories here, but actually break through suddenly in the theater. Like no one saw Kantara coming, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think even the Kannada film industry thought it would do this because it was amazing. People loved it, went and applauded it, watched it for its genius. Everyone's mind's blown away by Kantara. Kantara goes on to do, the footfalls are close to the KGF footfalls in Karnataka. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy because the cost to profit on Kantara is massive. It's probably I would only compare Kantara cost to profit to a film released in the 70s called Jai Santoshima, which actually had come so close to the business of Sholay. It had gone. Similarly, Kantara's come so close to KGF, and it's made in 15 or 18 crores, from what I know. It's crazy what
a return.
And the worldwide could be touching 1,000 crores. I mean, it's crazy.
Very interesting. So, if I pay as a consumer 100 rupees for a ticket, how is that 100 rupees divided amongst the actors, the directors, the producer, the theater?
Unfortunately, a pie of that is with the movie stars.
Okay.
Which should not be the case, because it's not that every movie star can open a film at every given point of time, but you're paying them top dollar. So I think I would say if it's a big director, then the divide is literally 50 to the star. And then if your director is big, then maybe 30 to the director. And the rest of the technical teams, little more to the writer now, and that's also new thing,
Mhm.
and the producer is the lowest hanging fruit. Will be like the last
Whatever,
person
yeah.
to make the money.
And is
And-
that the same in the West as well?
No, the superstar is dead in the West.
Right.
You know,
But
they've-
even in India, the evolution of the superstar is not looking very promising.
It's, yeah, so it's also like I don't think any of our new generation movie stars can have the aura and magic of Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, Amir Khan, Mr. Bachchan, Akshay Kumar, Ajay Devgan, like the kind Hrithik Roshan, these kind of stars. I think it's they were the last of the Mohicans.
Mhm.
Today's stars will be relevant, famous, they'll be
Mm.
celeb. See, fame and superstardom are two totally
different
different
things,
things. Famous, even anybody can be.
Mm.
Like you can become like start a YouTube channel and you can become famous.
Yeah.
You can be an influencer on Instagram and become famous. But are you a superstar?
Mhm.
That where like people stood in lines just because of you.
So
That ain't happening anymore.
So there are two economics. One is the superstar economics,
Yeah.
and one is the non-superstar economics.
Yes.
And so you think that in the future,
In the superstar economics, 60 or 70% goes
is
to
good.
that. The
Correct.
non-superstar, it could be maybe 20, 30, and then divided by, if the director is big, then the writer, then the technicians, then it gets
Mhm.
equally divided after that.
Got it. I have a question, which is, and we touched upon this a little bit. I want to double click. Can a movie be a flop but still make money? Or can a movie be a hit and still not make money?
Yes. Economically driven. A film could be a flop and make money because you managed to keep your costs in control. Like I gave you that math. Suppose I made my film really tight and my recoveries are high. Suppose I made my film in 40 crores. With P&A it's at 50 because it's a smaller film. But my theatrical, as I said, my digital and my satellite rights are 60.
Got it.
So even if it's bombs, I've already made
Made
my
the
money.
Even
You
before it
know,
hits the cinema,
And
you've
a
made
lot
the
of
money.
times that has known to happen. That
Mm.
has known to happen. And you could make a massive movie and it could do a massive number, but you spend so much money that you haven't
Just
been
never
able to
make
cover
profit.
your costs and you could have lost. Like I told you about Student of the Year.
Right.
Like I
So-
made a hit film and lost money.
So cost optimization is more
Yes.
important, perhaps sometimes.
Like
Yeah.
Yash Chopra once told me, a film never fails, a budget does.
Interesting.
You
Okay.
know?
So now let's sort of change gears a little bit. Other than the production houses that actually make movies, if I'm an entrepreneur and if I want to start up in the business of cinema, what are the opportunities I have? Like, how does one start up in Bollywood industry? If I'm not an actor, if I'm not a filmmaker.
There have been success stories that are really like Guneet Monga, for example, who has Sikhya Entertainment. I'd give her as an example where she's really come up the tough way. She knew no one in the industry. She worked with Anurag Kashyap, made some films with very interesting new, like Vasan Bala, who's just broken through with Monica, Oh My Darling, made his first film, Peddlers. Guneet was part of it. She made another film, and she made Lunchbox. Then when she made Lunchbox, I saw Lunchbox. The film had already garnered a lot of international love. I presented it along with UTV. It kind of made money. So Guneet Monga is one example. Sikhya Entertainment is one example of a startup breakthrough. But that's, Pratham, very rare.
Very rare.
It's very tough. It's not easy.
But what if I don't want to be a filmmaker, but I still want to be in the industry as a startup? So can I maybe have, let's say, like a startup that does, interactive digital work for companies?
Oh, of course you can. That you've gone. If you're not wanting to fund a film or produce a film, there are so many verticals you could be part of. If you want to start if you hire the right people and you are advised by the right people within the industry and start like a publicity agency or like a PR agency or something that makes marketing posters that you could do all. But the thing is, that's also people who have understood the DNA of the film industry. So unless you're smart and you come, suppose Pratham comes in and I say, okay, I want to start like a lucrative business in the movies. What can I do?
Right.
And I'm like, I would advise you, don't get into film production. You have to know a lot about it. So you say, what do you want to do? I say, but I know tech, so maybe I can start a digital agency.
Or animation.
I can start, but animation is also VFX.
VFX.
If you have the right place, so you want to, you can start like that. You can start so many verticals. Like VFX is such a big component today that needs only very technical and people who understand tech.
And is there a shortage of that?
Yes.
So if there was a VFX company today, a startup today,
that actually did
they could make some money.
work. Yeah, they could do really well. But it will also need some relationship building. So the first thing I would do is get an insider on board with you. It just helps.
Got it.
People pick up your phone then. Sometimes people just you might be very talented, you might have the best lot, but if you're not being able to reach out to people, what's the point?
What's the point? Got it. And so now the other aspect of this question is that, do you hire MBA students or do you hire engineering students? Like, is there a need for them within the film industry?
Of course, absolutely. There's so many of them in my financial. My own CEO is an MBA himself. People who I had, my CFO is one, and like so many. And there are people in the legal departments who've done their MBA. Like we have, I'm sure in my office of our strength of 400 or 500, I'm sure we have 100 MBAs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And do you also do a lot of, like, you know, we hear about Netflix doing data crunching, and that's how they arrive at, you know, what movies to build, who to cast. Do you have data crunchers as well?
So we do a lot of, we've started recently. I've always been a very firm believer of research when a film is made. Ormax and now Yuva have started like these research screenings and data and analysis points on screenplays and songs. I feel very strongly that the screenplay and the initial those have to be instinct driven. Like I don't want it to become so mechanical a process. It's eventually a form of expression. It's a creative art form. But when I do believe that when the film is ready, because it's for an audience, then you have to treat it like selling it like a product. But first go by our gut. Go by and say, they don't go to put everything to research. Then show it to Ormax, show it to Yuva, get your feedback. We get scores from them. They give suggestions, recommendations, and we alter them, and it's worked very well in our favor.
And so these MBA students that you have or that you'd like to hire in the future, they can help with marketing, they can help with PR, they can help with so many artistic side of things.
There's marketing, there's legal, there's PR.
But yet, like, these jobs are not posted anywhere, right? I think, like, you know, but how does one find this job? You know, they're not on LinkedIn or...
There are so many corporates. They're all, in fact, the people who are leading in the entertainment corporates have all come from financial backgrounds. If you meet, so they're obviously doing something. They're probably going to headhunters and telling them that they're open to, entertain the entertainment industry. Because if I meet all the heads of all the channels at Amazon, Netflix, everybody has come from a formal education, maybe an MBA, maybe other degrees, and that have nothing to do with the entertainment.
Should I assume that you're coming to Masters Union for recruitment?
Yes, I think I will. I think I will, and I'll be happy. Awesome. And I think, as I said, you never know where you'll find the talent for something.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we were talking about this a little bit before. If you had to design a course on the business of Indian cinema, what would be the curriculum? What would the curriculum look like? What would you teach? What would be the titles and the topics?
The first thing that I would do is the history of Indian cinema. A little bit, we have to touch on that. I think the first topic or the first part of the course would be, let's deep dive into the 50s onwards. Let's not go before that, but 50s, which was the Guru Dutt era, where cinema was about where intensity, and there was a lot of social issues in the 50s. We got independence, so there was a delayed reaction in cinema. So in the 60s, we had the Yahoo, Shami Kapoor phase, where movies moved to the hill stations. Everything was happy and got resolved quite easily in the end without much drama. Then there was the emergency, and then there was the angst in the common man. And Salim Javed created the angry young man anti-establishment, and Bachchan ruled. And then action came in for the first time. And that also resulted in so much action in Telugu and Tamil cinema, which also the hero started from the 70s. 80s went into South Indian remakes. 90s brought back love and then killed action with, with Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. It was a mixture of romance, love, and globalization, which created Shah Rukh Khan.
The history is the first.
And so the history will tell you the order of events. That's the first. The second thing is, if you had to really talk about the business, then you would talk about budgets and recoveries, which is what we just spoke about. Then we talk about terminologies. What is gross? What is net? What is entertainment charge? What is the ticket price plus what comes home? Like, people need to know gross, net, worldwide gross, worldwide net, net NBOC. Digital. Like, what is that? Then we talk about genres that have performed in the business, which genres haven't. What is now today the big divide, digital versus theatrical? So there are so many of these
revenue
I
streams,
would cover. Yes, absolutely. Revenue streams. Who are the players in the market?
Negotiations?
Also. It's a big part of it.
It's a big part.
Yeah.
What is the hardest deal that you've had to negotiate?
Every deal is tough because everybody comes with their defenses up. You want top dollar, they don't want to pay you top dollar, and you have to find a mid path.
Is it harder to negotiate with actors or with distributors?
With actors.
With actors, the other.
Because we're combating delusion.
Okay, interesting. All right.
So you must understand that there's only delusion is one disease that has no vaccination. So I can't give people 2 shots and say, okay, now you're not deluded.
This is how much you're worth, really.
This is I can't tell them the truth. That look, you open to this last 4 films. Why are you asking me for this? You ask me what you open to. If you're opening to 5 crores, I should give you 5
Yeah.
crores.
Are these difficult conversations?
Yes, very difficult because you want to be polite, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to
You wanna
hurt
build
or
that
upset
relationship.
somebody
Yeah.
because eventually they are stars.
Mm.
They come with fragile egos. They come with a lot of then they come with their management comes who are bigger stars sometimes. And I have a management agency of my own, and the first thing I keep telling them is, please, you must work for the producer. You must not work for the actor.
Right.
And of course, not an unpragmatic producer, an impractical producer, but somebody who's making sense and giving you data and analysis. Listen to it.
Yeah. So in business schools, we teach through case studies
Yeah.
sometimes. So I have a question. So if you were teaching this Business of Bollywood course at Masters Union, what movie would you use as a case study for the following? Okay, for marketing.
I love the way Amir Khan marketed, for example, the whole Raju Hirani series, Three Idiots, PK, even Dangal. He used very clever devices to market. I felt like those are case studies in how he marketed a film.
What about branding, positioning?
Some happened by default.
Yeah.
like how did Kabhi Khushi Kabhi become K3G? I called it once somewhere and it could on. Why am I called Kejo?
Yeah.
Like,
wow, all right.
So I'm
I
like,
didn't think of it like that.
why am I called Kejo? Because Namrata Joshi, who was writing for Outlook magazine, was called Namjo in the office. And so she, when she did a cover story on me, she called it the Kejo effect. That got stuck. Now it's just one article, one magazine. So branding sometimes it's not organic all the time. I can create a brand sometimes, but very rarely if I really work towards it. If I work towards like my film's marketing in a specific way to create brand value. But many a time in my understanding, it's inorganic. It just happens as a magic created.
What about budgeting? What's a case study for budgeting?
Kantara.
Yes. That's obviously the one. Yeah. Absolutely. Risk taking.
Brahmastra.
All right.
Massive risk taking. Huge budget.
Yeah.
Crazy idea. I mean, just left to the good Lord in universe.
So does it cause you sleepless nights?
Oh, that was one film that, I think Ayan was so busy trying to deliver the film that the stress was all the people around us. Like, I literally popped a pill every night that 1 week. I was just not really, even when there was praise and there was criticism and there was so many opinions flung around, I was just not really, the first time I was like, just tell me if you liked it, otherwise I don't want to know. Because I was so defensive and I was so nervous, so I became defensive.
What about strategy? Just the overall filmmaking strategy?
Every film should be a strategic film. But where did strategy work? I think KGF was great strategy. When they decided to make it into 2 films, they opened up
that strategy,
they opened up an entire Pushpa, the same thing happened. So obviously KGF started something. This one part 2 thing is a very huge KGF phenomenon.
Right. If you had to bring in masters from the cinema industry to come and co-teach or give guest lectures as part of your course, who would you call for movie promotions?
It just happened. Myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So you're good enough for that. Yeah. What about data? Is there anyone who does really good with data?
Or Max.
Or
have a really informal chat with the gentleman who runs Box Office India.
All right. What about negotiating fees?
I suppose calling a studio head, maybe Bhushan Kumar. He's struck so many deals.
That's true. If Bollywood was a startup, all right, who would you have as your CEO? Like, who would you want as a CEO?
Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan of the CEO. Who would be the CFO?
Akshay Kumar.
All right. CMO? Chief Marketing Officer?
Karan Johar.
Absolutely. Chief Technical Officer?
Also Shah Rukh Khan. I would say he could double dip. Great. Huge technical mind.
What about CHRO, who's human resources? Who can manage people, who's good with the...
It's very tough to think of anybody else but me, though.
All right, we'll stick with you.
I'm just trying very hard. Give me that marketing job and give me ego management. That's all I'm asking for. I can't be anyone for finance, strategy, etc. None of that.
So let's talk a little about the future of cinema, where we are headed. Say you had 100 crores to invest. How would you split it between Dharma, your traditional business, and Dharmatics, your OTT initiative? What excites you more?
Well, right now it would be 60 Dharma, 40 Dharmatic.
Okay.
But who knows, in 4 years it could be 60 Dharmatic and 40 Dharma, because digital is a huge part and it's also much more assured money back, because you have that. While my heart lies in filmmaking, and I hope Dharma is actually 80 and that's 20, but that's not the case.
So your hope is 80-20.
Yeah, but the reality will be 60-40 eventually, tilted on one of the sides.
Got it. And where do you see that tilt happening, like realistically?
So I think if we manage to be successful, then the tilt will be in terms of Dharmatic. But if we manage to have Pushpas and KGFs
Okay.
back to back, then who knows?
Then who knows? All right.
And one Kantara thrown in, who would want? And
That's
I mean, my dream is I make Pushpa in the same year, KGF in the same year, and Kantara in the same year.
That's a lot of
I'll just
dopamine.
retire. I'll move to the mountains, and I'll just say I'll wave from there.
This year I read somewhere that the Telugu industry did 28% market share in terms of revenues,
Yeah.
and the Hindi cinema industry did 27%.
Yeah.
Right. So if you had 100 crores to invest again, how would you split it between the Hindi industry versus the rest
The
of
thing is,
Kannada?
this is a hypothetical question that I would never do because I'm not equipped to make a Telugu film.
Hmm.
I don't know how to make a Telugu
So
film.
hypothetically,
If I was, because this is not, but I would obviously invest because the Telugu audiences are much more faithful to their movie stars. They come out in huger numbers. The North America numbers, the Middle East numbers are massive. I would obviously invest. If I was just a filmmaker who
Yeah.
didn't have, I have so much emotion, my heart lies in
It's in
Hindi
Hindi.
cinema. But you're asking me as a business person, I think Telugu is a far more lucrative industry.
so 100 crores you have. Where does the money go?
70-30?
70-30.
60-30. Let me just be kind. 60-40.
60-40.
I
All
might
right.
be murdered for saying this, but the only thing is that I'm only saying this because as a pure astute business person who has no
Yeah.
emotions attached.
Absolutely. This is
My
what business-
emotions, if you give me 100 crores, I want to put all 100 in Hindi cinema.
Correct.
But I'm asking as an outside perspective.
Absolutely. Okay. Are there any competitors or trends that keep you up at night? Is it something?
I'm just actually what keeps me up is all of us who've lost our core conviction. Let me tell you, Pratham, when I started in the movies, when I wrote Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, where a child is reading 8 letters left by her mother,
Yeah.
conviction, because actually
Yeah.
I have 6-year-old kids, they ain't reading any letters.
Yeah. Not
They are learning about
Not
my
gonna happen.
ex life. It's not, but it was so much conviction. Everything was conviction. Everything that college looked how it did. I insisted on that summer camp, which has no roots in our society at that time.
Not logical.
And it's not. Nothing was logical, but when
But you had conviction.
Kami Kushi Kabhi Gum, conviction. I wanted. This was my London. Where this was my Delhi house. So it looked like nothing like Delhi. There was a whole Diwali gathering inside, not one car outside. There was a whole Diwali. The whole world was inside. There was not one car parked outside. So obviously it was just conviction.
So there was this innocence you had.
Somewhere I feel we lost our conviction in Hindi cinema because we started worrying too much about the applause and praise on social media.
You including?
Yes. The critics and what they have to say. Those stars that we are doled out on Friday and worried about headlines because all critics have now.
I thought Brahmastra had a lot of conviction.
Yes, it did, and
Yeah.
that's why it did the money. It had conviction, and it didn't, and the reviews were not great at all, not
Right.
good even.
Right.
But it rode on conviction.
What do you think it will take for India to produce its Avatar or its Harry Potter franchise or Game of Thrones, which become or even not Hunger Games, the Korean one, forgetting the name.
We are not behind in terms of storytelling, in vision, human resources to do that. We have that in our Indian cinema texture and DNA. We don't have the exhibition. We don't have the screens. You have 10,000 screens. You're competing with 100,000 screens.
Interesting.
Even more. The world is available to watch Avatar. Our films don't open to those. We don't have those screen count. The moment we have a cinema in every square kilometer or every 2 kilometers in our country, in our 2-tier cities, in our villages and towns, but the sky's the limit. There are so many people who don't have access to cinemas.
Let's say there was a Hindi or a Kannada movie and we dubbed it in English. Do you think there would come a time where,
Well, look what happened with RRR, Pratham. It caused such a massive stir with the media in North America to the extent that it's a Golden Globe nominee as best film. That's massive. Best foreign language film.
Sure.
It's on a crazy level. Then he won. Rajamouli sir won a critics award. We're already nearly there. We just need to make many more RRRs. Much more conviction. Much more.
Is the money there?
The money is there.
Money
it can
is there.
come. Studios. You have the biggest international studios with us. Why won't they spend it if they know? But we have just one Rajamouli.
That's the limiting factor, not the money. We read this news about Amazon purchasing MGM as studios, right? Has Amazon ever given you an offer?
No.
Do you think that will ever happen?
Who knows? Maybe after this.
Put ideas in there.
Yeah. You're competing with.
But would you ever sell?
I'm not close to it at all. Honestly, I was close to it 5 or 7 years ago. I was worried that, my brand, my company, my dad raised it from all emotional ideologies were ruling my mindset at that time. But in the pragmatic world, me and Apurva have discussed it. We're like brothers running this company together.
Right.
I'm like, if we need to raise money or sell stake
Right.
in our enterprise,
Right.
it's only to enhance the infrastructure of our company,
Right.
not for me to like
Exit.
tuck money away and run away. I
Yeah.
mean, I need to make my company bigger.
Bigger.
The only reason I can do it, the only way I can do it is if I have more money. For me to then take more and more chances and sensibly invest that money in the infrastructure of Dharma Productions, Dharmatic Entertainment, so I can make it grow.
So after 3 decades, what are you motivated by today? Is it revenue? Is it awards? Are you looking to change the world with your cinema, or are you just having too much fun?
I'm having a lot of fun. I love it. But what am I still looking for? I'm still looking for like my film, not the money in my bank, but just that lovely blockbuster number. Like I still want that. I want that Bahubali number, that 500 crores. I want that film. I want to wake up to those big numbers. Like that's still such a drive. And it's not because I want to take that money home, please. It's much more high of a filmmaker. It's like a report card, right?
Yeah.
It's like you want your A+, A+, across. You just don't want to be happy with B's and C's. Like you want an A+ everywhere, and that's what box office is I've always been so enamored with the box office only because of the fact that it's such a validation.
Yeah.
It's such a screaming out loud audience screaming at you saying we love your work and your film. That's what I really want. I wake up every morning hoping for those numbers in those films.
There are a lot of MBA students in general watching this, right? What is like your one final message to them as we finish this interview?
I know that many people who are, for various reasons, have taken up, educational decisions, academic decisions, basis on perhaps their family. Perhaps because of peer pressure, perhaps societal pressures, because everybody feels you have to have a stable job. But there are those who are doing those, who have MBAs and financial degrees, but they have creative inner kind of emotions and feelings. To all of you, I say, like, the entertainment industry awaits your mind, because you're a strong balance of academia and passion. And that's what I, as a filmmaker, is always seeking. So if you are one of those people who have a creative bent of mind, but have done a different kind of academic path, if you've taken on a different academic path, that doesn't mean that the film industry, the entertainment industry is close to you. It just means that you have to just be more daring with your choices.
All right. On that note, we have at Masters Union, the way we teach is we teach students by making them actually run businesses.
Yeah.
And some of our students have actually started small companies where they make small products. And we have taken all those products and made a nice small hamper for you.
Oh,
so
wow.
can I present that to you?
Yes.
So there we go.
Yeah.
And
thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks, Pratham. This is a Masters Union hamper and I love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hope you like it.
And my congratulations and felicitations to all your students who, while studying, are doing their own startups and beginning the process of their dreams.
Yeah, I mean, the only way you can learn to make films is by making films.
Yes.
The only way you can learn business is by
actually getting on and doing it. Yes. Well done.
So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
Deeply appreciate it.
It's great to chat
Looking forward to seeing you in the classroom one day.
I really can't wait.
Yeah.
I really can't wait.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you.